Welcome those wishing to play God to Geek Salad's retro movie review from the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike, and yes, I am wishing to play God.
Yes, I play God on a daily basis. And today we have a very special guest, longtime friend of mine. We've done a few shows together, and he is graciously agreed to join us. Jon Saul.
Hey, everyone. Internet world.
Hey, yes, this is John's first time on the show. So John and I did 1776 together. I think that's where we met, right?
Yeah, that was where we met.
Good Lord. That was God. Autumn and I were dating when we did that show.
That was about
2002.
That was about 240 something years ago.
That just certainly feels like it. Yeah. So, but John and I go way back. So, and it's great to have you back on, man. I haven't talked to you in a while in person, so this is kind of nice. John is just like us. He loves to talk about movies and stuff, and I felt this one is a good one because I don't know anybody who even moderately dislikes this movie. And that movie today is, if you couldn't tell by the title card, Jurassic Park.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
So, John, you're our guest, so I'm going to start with you. When and where was the first time you saw Jurassic Park?
I mean, I saw it in the theater. I saw it. I'm in Massachusetts, like Andy is, and I saw it at the local movie theater. And wow, like it was Spielberg. Good Spielberg, and I actually have a vivid memory of it. Leaving it, I remember driving home from the movie theater in the middle of the night and just like expecting dinosaurs to jump out at my car driving home. Because obviously in the movie, anyone in a car is toast. Pretty much. Especially Jeeps. I didn't have a Jeep, so that would have been worse. But yeah, I was like driving home and it's like the total synesthesia experience of like, yes, like my brain is telling me no dinosaurs, but my heart is telling me dinosaurs are going to come out and eat me.
How old, John, if you don't mind me asking, how old were you when that came out?
I mean, I'd have to look at like whenever.
It was 1993.
93. So 93, I was 18.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I was 21 when it came out. Saw it opening night, probably in the same theater you did, which would have been the old Natick Lowe's or whatever the hell it was called back then. I remember.
I remember it opening night, but I saw it pretty early in because everyone else was raving about it.
Yeah, I remember very distinctly because I was on a date and I ran into a guy I went to junior high school with, and it was just like this weird mix of like, well, this is just awkward, and I'll never forget this. And 26 years later, I still haven't forgotten it. All right, Mike, how about you?
I saw this one in theaters, actually. Unlike most of the other movies we've talked about, saw it first in theaters. Don't know if it was opening time or not, but because this is when, after, my parents started letting us go into movies again. That was about 1991 that they started letting us do that. And I'm pretty sure we went down to the theater down in Leominster. It wasn't Entertainment Cinema at the time.
But it was the same movie theater.
Yeah, same movie. That was the pretty much closest movie theater. I think that was before Cinema World had been built. I think so. Because I used to go to that theater a lot too, because I used to date a girl in Clinton. So that was yeah. This show's not so much about clone dinosaurs, but more about Andy's teenage love life. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna ask you guys a question because this is the moment in the movie that always sticks out for me. What your impression the first time you saw one of the dinosaurs on the big screen? When you saw that Brontosaurus on the screen for the very first time, because I believe that is the actual first full dinosaur you see. Full dinosaur, yes, it is.
Yeah. Just in terms of a scale.
Yeah, I mean, until then, I mean, obviously Spielberg went all in for computer graphics and doing it right. I mean, because there have been some, I think, I'm trying to remember if there have been like a handful of stuff. Tron was animation, not actually computer graphics, but a handful of stuff, but they all looked. Oh, it was like oh geez, like young Sherlock Holmes had stained glass scene.
Yeah.
It was like early, and it was uncanny valley. It was like it was scary, so it had a jump scare, but it wasn't right. I mean, they were going for not right, but it wasn't believable, and it definitely felt like 18-year-old me was like, that looks like. I mean, that looks like there's actually a dinosaur there. Like I could reach out and touch it.
Yes, absolutely. I feel like when I watched that, I was just, my jaw dropped. It really, truly, not hyperbole. My jaw just like, I was sitting there and the dinosaur comes on and I'm just like Alan Grant. I'm just like, and I'm watching this. I'm trying to process this gigantic dinosaur and all the dinosaurs in the background. I'm just like, they did it. That crazy son of a bitch did it.
Yeah, pretty much the Alan Grant reaction is, I think everyone had that same reaction when they first saw it, because I mean, it was the first real use of legitimate CGI. I mean, they had used, like, I think the very first uses of CGI in a movie was Star Trek 2, actually. The video of the Genesis effect.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the very first use of CGI done by a small little company owned by Lucas at the time called Pixar, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, this was like, because he actually, throughout this movie, he melded the CGI with actual legit models, and he did it in the Spielberg way, where he managed to get it all to work, even though it shouldn't possibly work. He always finds ways to do that.
Yeah.
And this was no exception.
Yeah, and it's interesting with this too, is that the scenes, any of the VFX scenes in this movie are very much feel like Spielberg scenes. These are definitely the things that Steven Spielberg was directing, because quite honestly, everything that had to do with the people just talking really felt like second unit stuff, because by that point he was already in Poland shooting Schindler's List. So it's, I know he finished Jurassic Park while he was in Poland, but he was doing it like through, this fanciful invention called the hold on a sec. Am I pronouncing this right? The internet?
No, it's pronounced Al Gore's the internet.
Oh, okay. Al Gore's the internet.
Trademarked.
Honestly, this is one of those things that with Spielberg, the Spielberg moments feel like Spielberg moments, and then there's a lot of talking. But we'll get into that in a little bit. Now, John, you had mentioned the whole thing about the driving in the car.
Yeah, so that was like my most vivid memory, was leaving the theater and just expecting that the dinosaurs were going to jump out at me. And it's like, and it's just the Spielberg effect of being able to bring that belief into that wonder. I think it's just something that an artist can do that just a hack can't. A hack can do tricks to try and make you think, but an artist is someone who can actually capture the imagination.
Absolutely. And if I'm not mistaken, this was Dennis Muren and Phil Tippett, right?
Yes.
Both alum of Star Wars. So it's not like, Spielberg just had to like craft it. He's like this crafty gang of rogues that were just going to put together this movie. He had the Grey Goose of on this.
Yeah,
I don't know why I always use Grey Goose as my top shelf example, because I don't drink vodka. But
it was Dennis Muren that did the CGI, right? And Phil Tippett did the models. from what I hear, when Dennis Muren called them all in to show them like, see what we can do with this computer here, and they were looking at it, and Phil Tippett was just thinking, I've got to do something quick or else I'm going to lose my job. So he was like, well, he's going to do all that on computers, but I can make these maquettes so that he can have the actual, scale and, the texture and all that. And so they found a way to integrate the two, which I think was a stroke of genius, because if they didn't, I don't think the CGI would have been nearly as believable.
Right. Didn't Stan Winston also do some special effects on this too?
I'm sure he did.
I'm fairly certain he did he actually did the T-Rex head.
That sounds like in his wheelhouse, yeah.
Which is exactly, it's what John was talking about. It's that, bad things happen to people in cars, and when the T-Rex escapes, and I just love the jump scare, where it's just like Lexi is just, where's the goat? And then like this bloody goat leg just hits the windshield. And it's just all hell at that point breaks loose.
Well, and there's also just even the iconic moment of the water glass, which it's so simple. It's kind of like and I'm not a horror fan, but even I can appreciate it. It's just like the not revealing, and it's the jaws of not showing it,
yeah.
Where it didn't work in that one, but obviously they made things work in this one. But, just even being able to say, here is something that even a child can figure out something big is coming.
That's a really good point. And the comparison to Jaws is great, because that really is this is the closest to Jaws that I think Spielberg's ever done, because he spent most of the 80s doing Flights of Fancy and these wonderment movies, and then in the 90s this is his first real big hit in the 90s, and just the jump scares and just that terror that could pop around from anywhere. The raptors, the fact that the raptors can just camouflage themselves and remain so still, and the way that Grant mentions it in the very beginning, where it's like you're locking eyes with the raptor, and it's not him that's going to go, it's the two next to him that were waiting for you.
I mean, honestly, that's what Spielberg does so great when he's really on form, is that he makes a family film, but he puts in those little scare moments, those little like moments of humor, the ones that kind of take the genre and momentarily switch it into a different genre before switching back.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the special effects alone, could garner their own discussion. It really is just, it's peak craftsmanship at the time when we needed peak craftsmanship. There wasn't a lot of great special effects movies, especially using computer animation. I think The Lawnmower Man was like a year before this.
Oh.
John, are you familiar with The Lawnmower Man?
I believe I don't think I saw Lawnmower Man in the theater, but I think I saw it, like it did run on TV. And it was, that was, again, like young Sherlock Holmes. A lot of things were just a lot more flat than you would expect. Everything was like, and it was the time when people figured that VR was going to take over the world. I mean, and we're still struggling with it, but that was what everyone figured, was that, next year, everyone's going to be wearing glasses and you're going to be in this virtual world. So everything was still pictured in that very much like glasses orientation of a three-dimensional world. I think that was, no one had really gotten beyond that. And that was where Jurassic Park was a breakout to be, let's do things for distance. Let's do things for size, like the Brontosaurus, as you said, that moment, scale.
The texture.
That before that, everything had been, you'd had little bits of things, like you'd have a character, you'd have a piece of a scene. But, as Mike said, with the maquettes and with the backgrounds and everything, you really were able to get scale.
Yeah, I agree. And And it's amazing because I think after this, we still had a lot of like really crappy CG going on. It took a while for the rest of Hollywood to get the decent CG in their bloodstream. It is interesting too, John, about like the VR goggles and all that, because there is that one shot where they're talking about how they manipulate the DNA, and there's actually somebody with those gigantic VR goggles, like, oh. And it's interesting too, because in the intervening years after Jurassic Park, any movie that was based on a Michael Crichton book, no matter how little it had to do with technology, had like they needed a scene where they're like, oh, I'm gonna find these things, but I need the VR goggles to do it. Like I think of the movie was Disclosure with Michael Douglas and Demi Moore. There was like literally a scene in that movie where Michael Douglas is trying to get evidence, and he's wearing these big ass VR goggles.
Michael Crichton, Michael Crichton had I think one good book.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe he had a book and a half. I think like he spread out like a good book across maybe the rest of what he did.
Fair enough.
Right. I mean, I think he was actually a fairly decent director. He directed Coma, which is an interesting movie. He directed Westworld. And
the original?
Yeah, the original movie Westworld. Now I don't know. I know, Mike, you're not watching it. John, were you at some point watching Westworld on HBO?
No, I was pretty much out of the loop of HBO. First, just sort of didn't have it, and then I kind of got somewhere across between a hipster and a get off of my lawn and be like, everyone. I have this tendency that backfires on me, that when any like 100 people tell me you have to do this, I'd be like, nope. So like it got me to be like the last person to read Harry Potter in my group of friends, which was a mistake. But I kind of feel, my opinion is just that HBO has some things that are golden, but then just a lot of near misses. So it sounds like Westworld wasn't one of those. It sounds like Westworld was really good. But again, part of that is just like, I'm not as much into the horror. I have real world to be horror. I don't need to add that into my fantasy world.
Yeah.
So.
I'll have you know, I did watch like the first 3 or 4 episodes
of Westworld.
Yep.
Really? Did you like it?
I did, actually.
All right. And before we get back on the topic at hand of Jurassic Park, Westworld, just the weird thing about the first season is that even without realizing it, they had become internet rumor mill wish fulfillment, because people were speculating what was going to happen, and every single thing happened. And it was like the opposite of what happens with any fandom when they try to make their rumors true. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut. And it's amazing how that ended up backfiring on them, even though they gave people exactly what they expected.
Yeah.
So back to Jurassic Park. Let's talk about some of the performers in that. Sam Neill is Alan Grant, who what Jaws role would you cast him in, guys?
I mean, he tends to be, a relatively calm authority figure who's thrown into problems. So, I mean, he might be the main role, that he's just kind of like the father.
He's the Brody.
Yeah,
he's the Brody, I guess.
Yeah, I put him as Brody.
Right. It's interesting because I like Sam Neill as an actor, but it's almost like, other than that first time that he sees the dinosaurs for the first time and he's like starting to hyperventilate, it's almost like the novelty immediately wore off for this guy whose entire life has been dedicated to digging up dinosaur bones.
Well, not entirely. I mean, when the Gallimimuses are charging at him, he takes a moment like, wow, they're moving like birds, just flocking, and they're flocking this way.
You know the funny thing about Joseph Mazzello, the kid that played the kid, is that he ended up playing John Deacon in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
He was also in The Pacific, that Spielberg and Tom Hanks World War II.
all right.
Miniseries. But yeah, no, it was like we were watching Bohemian Rhapsody a few months ago, and it's like Joseph Mazzello's. Oh my God, he got old.
Oh man, I'm just looking at the daughter Ariana Richards. She's just like in crap after this. Like she was in the Lost World, but then after that, like her most recent one was Battle Dogs, TV movie, 2013. So
That
yeah,
sounds like a sci-fi movie if I've ever heard one.
yeah, I think it's probably Sci-Fi Channel or nearly.
Yeah, I think she's now just. I think she's actually retired from acting, and she's just a painter.
Okay, she probably does make the odd Comic-Con appearance, though.
I'm sure.
Now appearing Lex from Jurassic Park.
And why not?
Come sign autographs. The movie's 26 years old.
It's funny that there's actually kind of an MCU connection because it had Goldblum and Sam Jackson. So you have basically the Collector and Nick Fury were in that movie too.
Everyone forgets that Sam Jackson was in this movie.
It is, because this is the year before the breakout. So back in '93, Samuel Jackson was just like your solid. You know, we need an African American actor who can show a little bit of sass, but he's a solid actor, and that's Samuel Jackson. Pre 1994, Pulp Fiction comes along, and all of a sudden, it's Samuel motherfucking Jackson.
Yeah,
it's an amazing career transformation. The fact that I recognized Sam Jackson because he had done other things. I think in '93 he did that really bad Loaded Weapon movie, which was like that National Lampoon ripoff of Lethal Weapon.
Yeah, I never watched that one.
It's bad. It's very bad. Wayne Knight was he pre-Seinfeld?
When did Seinfeld go off the air?
98.
Yeah, so it was during Seinfeld, I think.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't know.
Probably how he got cast. Actually,
what's that?
It's probably how he got cast in the movie. Because most of these people had names.
Right.
Laura Dern was solid. The cast, you know.
I mean, Richard Attenborough had won an Oscar for directing Gandhi, and he was a solid actor. And honestly, I think the best choice that they could have possibly had to play movie. Mike, bail me out.
But sorry, I missed it. What were you saying?
No, what was that Richard Attenborough? Oh, John Hammond.
Yes.
John Hammond is a soft, kindly old man who's just he let his determinations get ahead of him.
Yeah,
John Hammond is a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's the Dr. Frankenstein. He's the Captain Ahab.
Sorry,
John. Have you read the book?
No, I haven't. I don't know that I've read any of Crichton's stuff.
I read this one prior to seeing the movie, so I was pretty much trying to base everything based on the movie. And there's a lot of interesting stuff that totally doesn't happen in the movie. Ian Malcolm dies in Jurassic Park. They bring him back when Crichton wrote The Lost World because, he was only mostly dead. That's made in 1994 when that book came out, by the way. So it's not that original.
And the lawyer Gennaro, he survived in the book.
Yeah,
and died but in the Lost World, he was written off as having died of dysentery, which if you look at how he died in the movie, we get it, Crichton, we get it. You wrote Lost World after the movie. I get it.
Yeah. That's funny. So, obviously, if we're skipping somebody because I want to wait till last to talk about him.
Okay.
You know exactly who I'm talking about. Both of you do. I do want to point out one thing, though, about Dennis Nedry's character. First of all, how little is he getting paid? He's actually the chief computer engineer for this enormous prehistoric amusement park, and he's arguing over money.
Well, you know, some people.
I mean, it's been a while since I've been in a job interview. I haven't had to negotiate a salary in a long time, but I'm fairly certain you don't take the job unless there are certain needs that are met. Am I wrong on that? Either of you guys?
Well, I mean, he's on an island. He's signed like 18 NDAs to even get on the island. And there's probably some of these people who came into it thinking it was going to be prestige and they were going to get a bigger job after it. Because it'd be like, yes, you were in Jurassic Park and it was awesome. And so now you get an even better job. They thought it was going to be like their launching point for the career. They didn't know that it was going to go like all Lost World movies go terribly wrong.
But all those people got on the boat.
I mean, there are some people that, you know, the money is never enough.
Yeah. It's interesting, too, because if the park is just about to open, the last thing I would allow any of my employees to do is leave the island. And that's what Nedry did. He got off the island to get like those shaving cream cans.
Yeah, there's got to have been some kind of, well, I mean, like, isn't there like quarantine because they're raising these creatures that haven't been exposed to modern diseases? So you'd kind of think lab-grown animals, you expose them to dysentery, something.
Yeah.
They're going to be toast. So I'm sure that they'd be like, checking out everyone. You have to put on a chem suit before you can leave the island.
I mean, to be fair, he works in the computer lab. It's not as if he actually gets out into the field very often, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he does have to leave. He does leave the confines of that and goes out into the open air every once in a while.
Yeah.
And if the place is, swarming with dinosaurs, I mean, that's neither here nor there. What we do need to talk about, though, is the Dennis Nedry action figure. Have you guys ever seen the Dennis Nedry action figure that was released for Jurassic Park?
I did not know there was such a thing.
I'm pulling it up right now because it is absolutely hilarious.
And by the way, Wayne Knight had been on Seinfeld for at least a year before Jurassic Park came out.
Okay. Because I think I only made the Newman reference after it came out on home video. So,
well, I've never seen Seinfeld, so.
You've never seen? Really? Okay.
Well, I've seen enough to know I don't want to watch more.
Okay. So here it is. I'm going to put this on the camera here. So this is Wayne Knight, Dennis Nedry from Jurassic Park.
Oh my God. I just brought up the Amazon link you can get it for $52 or maybe $44. Wow.
That's more like a James Bond evil henchman.
Yeah, he is totally henching that.
Oh no, he's absolutely, not only is he henching, but he's svelte.
It's almost like they took like a slimmed down Arnold figure with the sunglasses.
What they probably did was they took the description from the book and like, this is how he's going to be in the movie, right? Sure, yeah, go, just run with it.
Who'd you cast? Oh, I don't know. Some dude. It's also funny, too, because Nedry is just like, you flip two letters from nerdy because, hashtag computer guy.
Yeah.
But all right, so now the suspense has been killing me here. Let's talk Goldblum.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's got the scene lying down that has launched 1,000 memes. I mean, he is like Goldblum plus in that. The shirt, I'm looking at that scene. I mean, like, you can be hetero and still be like, that man looks really good.
He is just,
he's got the hair and the shirt and he's just so relaxed, confident.
let me be his next ex-wife. He is
Yeah.
He's seriously, it's just he steals this movie almost from the dinosaurs. It's amazing because again, this character was not supposed to live. In the book, he dies, and he managed to survive almost barely. But he's just so cool in this, and it's just the second they introduce him, he's got the leather jacket on, the black shirt, the sunglasses, and he's just very smooth. He's got that great way when he's like he grabs Laura Dern's hand and he's working out like the fine little hairs on there, and he's essentially just playing handsies with her.
I'm just looking into I mean, this was really kind of like the first movie where Jeff Goldblum is playing Jeff Goldblum, basically.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think this is really the first time that they just said, you know what, just do whatever the hell you want. We'll film it, and if we like it, we'll run with it. If not, we'll change it. And they just saw it as like, we can't change this.
And he had gone through a career slump up until this too. The beginning of the 90s weren't great for him. I remember this movie with featuring Lawrence Fishburne called Deep Cover, where he was the bad guy, and it was just like, wow, he's just not believable.
Yeah, I mean, his biggest movie before that was probably Earth Girls Are Easy and The Fly.
The Fly, Earth Girls Are Easy. I mean, he had a very Goldblum-esque role in the movie Vibes with Cyndi Lauper, which I believe I'm the only one of the three of us who probably remember that movie. John?
Yeah. No, doesn't ring a bell. But, you know, for the earliest, most Goldblum, he was in Buckaroo Banzai.
That's true. He was in Buckaroo Banzai. He was also in The Big Chill, and he was kind of Goldblum-y in that one, too.
Oh, man, he was in the 78 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
He was. He was also in Death Wish, the original, Charles Bronson.
But this is the first movie, I think, where you just see, where you really see and acknowledge the beauty of full Goldblum.
Cottage industry Jeff Goldblum emerged from this movie and continued on to Independence Day 3 years later.
Yep.
Well, until this movie, he has been like one among many. Like, you wouldn't pick him out and say like Jeff Goldblum is interesting. You'd be like, okay, he works okay. You know, like he's in that movie, fine. You know, wow, he played a villain in Captain Planet.
Did he?
Permanent Scum.
Wait,
five
who?
episodes.
He must have.
Captain
Did he do a
Planet
voice?
and the Planeteers. He played Verminous Scum.
I
spelled
vaguely remember
SKUM.
that character, actually.
I'm sure that there's stuff on YouTube for it,
No, I'm sure.
along with drunk Jeff Goldblum from those Mac ads from the late 90s.
Dude, that's comic gold. I love those.
Who likes beige? That's insane. I'm assuming you've seen those, John.
Refresh my memory.
All right, so remember those Mac ads in the 1990s, like the late 90s, when Mac put out like those colorful, like single pod Macintosh computers?
Yeah.
All right. Jeff Goldblum was their spokesperson, and he was just being Goldblum, and he's just extolling the things about, well, you know, why would you choose beige as a color? That's insane. So some genius took the audio and slowed it down. And with the way that he talks, it sounds like he's drunk. These are available on YouTube, by the way. So
Who
Yes,
here
this is gonna have
likes
to
the
be a must
internet?
listen after this.
I like the internet.
like the internet just fine. So yeah, these are great. He is just such a fantastic actor, and he works great. The scene when they're doing the tour and none of the dinosaurs come out, where he's like, they got the cameras there. He's like, John, do you think we might see some dinosaurs in your dinosaur park?
I love Himmer's response to that too.
I really do
I
hate
hate
that,
that,
man.
man.
It was great too, because I remember turning that into a meme when they released the teaser for Venom.
And
Yeah. Hey, do you think we're gonna see some Venom in this Venom movie?
Well, the first trailer you saw, like, I think you saw a total of 5 seconds of Venom.
I believe, John, the term is 5 frames of Venom. They weren't even seconds.
And
I
of
was
course,
just so desperate to actually see something that was like, Bane is just walking around, just being a guy. That's it.
and now of course there's the most famous Goldblum Ian Malcolm meme, just because they were so concerned and wondering if they could, they didn't realize if they should.
Right. I love that line because I use it's all about shoulda, not coulda.
Yeah.
I use that a lot. And that scene that he has, again, this is Pete Goldblum, where he's talking and he's banging the table while he's talking. And it's like that, only Jeff Goldblum gets away with that.
Yeah.
You can't see, we'll go back to like someone like Tom Hardy, because we were just talking about Venom. He couldn't get away with doing something like that. He looked like a lunatic. Jeff Goldblum probably does that in regular conversations when he's just getting a little irritated with somebody.
Because
the only one that I think that could get away with it would be Malkovich.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
God, now we see those two in a movie together.
Well, because the thing about Malkovich and Goldblum is that. Sorry, hold on 1 second here. Yeah, come on down. Yeah. Yeah.
I am grown from mosquito amber.
The thing about why they can get away with it is you're pretty sure they're halfway insane already, so you don't want to anger them.
Yeah. I really felt like Jeff Goldblum's use in that last Jurassic World movie was such a waste, and they practically built the ad campaign around it.
Well, at least the first trailer, anyway.
Well, yeah, no, but I remember seeing a review of Fallen Kingdom, and it was Bob Chipman. Which, John, if you haven't watched Bob Chipman's Movie Bob reviews, they're brilliant. I don't always agree with him, but I love his point of view. And he actually started the review, and he's just standing there in front of a green screen, not saying anything. Looks at his watch. And that is longer than Jeff Goldblum was on screen in Fallen Kingdom. So,
yeah,
I know.
Trailers that give the best material in the trailer. That's
Hollywood. That's just Hollywood right there. But yeah, this is definitely a movie I've been trying to. I don't know if my son is old enough yet. He's only 6. My daughter's 11. She's perfect age for this. And I want to show her this one. Honestly, my biggest concern is that it's not going to have the same magic that I had watching it, and you guys had watching it with that first dinosaur scene.
Oh yeah,
that first view. You can't replicate that even on a large screen TV.
Well, there's no way, because at the time that was brand new technology. So seeing it like that was amazing. Now that's the CGI is still fantastic, but now it's that's the shelf. That it's not top shelf anymore.
Scarlett's seen Thanos.
Yeah.
Once you've seen Thanos, and once you've seen all the CG that the MCU and Star Wars have to offer, it's kind of tough to be like, back in 1993, honey, 15 years before you were born.
Yep.
Well, it's like trying to explain to them about the internet when you had to use a modem. They're just like, are you insane? Like, why would you put up with that? And it was like, that was what we had.
Honey, imagine trying to get on the internet, but first you have to hear.
All right, so here's another one. Try being on the phone and someone trying to hop on the internet.
Oh, that loses connection real fast.
I had a roommate. It was awful. It's like, can I use the phone now? I just got to do 3 more things. Like,
56K, yeah, it'll take 2 hours.
Oh God, it was terrible. It was really terrible. You kids don't know how lucky you have it. God, I can't imagine having to render all of those special effects in Jurassic Park, and then having to be like, we need you to send some of the proofs over. Just send it via the interwebs.
No, they couriered it over, because actually sending it over a telephone line, it would have taken as long as it took to film the movie.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I like to daydream that, of them having to deal with the bad technology that we all had to deal with too. So,
How about the internet?
don't you love the internet? Really gotta start. I gotta see. I'm gonna try to post those up in the corner if I can find them, and I can find the timestamp for this. So, any other thoughts about Jurassic Park? I mean, we've kind of just run roughshod over the career of Jeff Goldblum, and how amazing the dinosaurs looked. Are you guys surprised that they really haven't come up with a truly satisfactory follow up to Jurassic Park?
I mean, I like Jurassic World well enough. I mean, it had.
I gotta confess, I haven't seen since. I don't think I saw. I didn't watch too many of the sequels, just because the first one made an impression on me, and I didn't really feel like I needed to go back to the well because I had that. But they've made a lot of buck out of it. I mean, they've got a lot of ground out of it, but I don't know if they've really. The first one had magic to it, so they couldn't recapture the magic. The genie got out, and then once it got out, what are you going to come back with that's going to be like that? They've just been playing variations on the theme since then. I mean, they've gone back to an island, a different island. It's just like volcanic islands. They're going to try and build something up, and people will go and see it. But I kind of feel like at a certain point it's going to end up being like the Terminator franchise, that they're going to milked all the money out of it. It's going to go to the next buyer. The next buyer is going to try and do something out of it. That's what property is going to be like. It's going to be wrung out like a wet towel.
I agree completely with you on that, John. I think that, especially, I mean, with the Lost World was just like, it's Jurassic Park, just with more dinosaurs. Jurassic Park 3 was, we found something bigger than a T-Rex, and that's going to be your big monster dinosaur. Lost World, the Indominus Rex, brought to you by Verizon Wireless. And then whatever the other megasaur was in Fallen Kingdom, I can't be bothered to remember. Mike, have you seen the Fallen Kingdom yet?
No, not yet. I'm still kind of.
John, here's a little story for you.
Yeah, I'm still kind of hurt by that, actually.
I'm sorry. I'll try not to put like a month's worth of my time for you. We surprised Mike with a birthday party last year, and the ruse to get him to the party was he and I were going to go see Fallen Kingdom. I said the only way I'm going to see this stupid looking movie is if I go with you, and we're going to go to Chunky's. And in New Hampshire, that movie theater with the food and everything, and it was just so I could get him to the party. And Mike's like, he's got the phone up and he's pulling up all the foods and kill me.
Yeah,
so we show up. I made an excuse that I had to pick up a script for Autumn, and we had the surprise party. It was amazing, and apparently to this day, Mike's never forgiven me from throwing him a nice surprise party instead of taking him to see the Fallen Kingdom.
Well, I mean, I would have loved to do both personally. I mean, I wore my Jurassic World T-shirt. I knew what I was going to order. I knew where I was going to sit. I had all of everything planned, and then, well, that didn't happen.
You ingrate.
I think this is a lesson to you for your kids: is you can't get the expectations too high. You should be like, hey, this is a movie I enjoyed when I was younger. Let's see how you like it. Don't pitch it as like this was this great movie when I was growing up. Don't pitch it as, we're going out to Chunky's and we're going to see a movie. Pitch it as like, yeah, we're going to go, it's going to be a movie. I enjoyed it. Don't pitch it high.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is that the Jurassic Park series is really the only output for dinosaurs, like, period. It's the only quality dinosaur movies you can get are these Jurassic movies. because obviously I'm not going to show my kids the Sci-Fi Channel special, Megasaur versus Sharknado or whatever.
Not without years of therapy, no.
No, those are only best watched with riff tracks.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts on Jurassic Park, John?
I'm just seeing it just because it was kind of early, I guess, silver age of video games. We talk about the games.
Oh my
the Jurassic
God.
Park games.
Was that Sega Genesis or was that Saturn? Did Saturn have a Jurassic Park game?
Actually, Super Nintendo had a Jurassic Park game, and it was actually pretty fun.
Was it like a side-scrolling platformer?
No, it was like a top-down, more like Legend of Zelda type game.
Okay.
And yeah, you had to wander through and find like the dinosaur eggs that were all over, and you could get like a net gun and to shoot the raptors that would come out and shoot and attack you.
What games were you referring to, John? Which one of the Jurassic Park games were you referring to?
Well, I was just remembering that there was just so many of them that came out. Like there was just a flood of them, and I'm just remembering that recently a friend of mine who's Lego.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There you go.
Jurassic World.
One of the best Jurassic Park games ever, right here.
A Lego game. I don't know a bad Lego game.
I don't know a bad Lego game, but they did push a little too hard with Lord of the Rings. It was too big for them. I played with them. They actually pulled those off of Steam. I have an account where I ordered it. They pulled it because there's something with the Lord of the Rings Lego games. They pulled them.
We have the Hobbit Lego, and there's only 2 movies in there. It's just Unexpected Journey and Desolation of Smaug. They never did the 5 armies.
Yeah, that's I think the Lord of the Rings, Lego Lord of the Rings is great. Lego Hobbit was disappointing. Very
much so. So I'm sorry, John. We interrupt you about the other Jurassic Park games.
No, I was just thinking. Just my friend who's just works at Museum of Science and big into dinosaurs was playing like some. I think it was actually is a Jurassic Park like where you're supposed to collect the dinosaurs in your own little, but it's a mobile game. So that's how far like the games have had as much staying power as the movies. It's just kind of speaking to the content of the movies.
Yeah. And that's one of those interesting things too, is that you can go to like Kohl's or Target and still get a Jurassic Park t-shirt. And they still have Jurassic Park like toys, like the dinosaurs with it's still branded with Jurassic Park. So I mean, it's definitely had a legacy that is far surpassed a lot of different franchise movies. And this one, Jurassic Park is easily the best out of all of these.
Yeah, no argument here.
So, all right. So, any other final parting thoughts?
If you haven't seen it for a while, watch it again. It's still a really fun movie.
Speaking of which, when was the last time you guys watched this?
Last year, actually.
John?
I don't know that I've seen the full movie in years. I mean, like, I feel like I've watched the whole movie from all the clips that show up. Like, it shows up in, like, Oscar Best Of. It shows up on, like, CGI history of. It shows up in Spielberg retrospectives. I kind of feel like even though I haven't seen the whole movie, I feel like I've seen, like, at least 65% of it spread out over years for me. Like, you'll see iconic scenes because they are just so good.
And you can piece this movie together easily in your mind and not feel like it's been a while since you've seen it. It's interesting too that you mentioned that. My daughter, for her school concert, actually they played the theme to Jurassic Park. The John Williams theme, one of the more underrated of his themes.
Actually, I do. You know, when I watched it all, like 1, 2, 3, and 4 last, was getting ready to see Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom last year.
Wow, what a fucking letdown, huh?
Yeah.
Oh boy, oh boy. You know what, John? Here's a lesson to you: never do nice things for people.
I think the only way you'll be able to make this up to Mike is if you live stream a visit to Chunky's.
Oh, I'll do that, but it won't be for Jurassic World because I'm not seeing that. I'm not going to see Fallen Kingdom. So, but anyway, that was Jurassic Park. If you have any thoughts, did you like it? Did you love it? Is it not your cup of tea? If you've never seen this movie, I mean, this is like when I find out that adult men have never seen Star Wars. I have to ask them what country they were born in. Have you seen Jurassic Park? Seriously. Leave a comment below. Please keep it civil. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe to Geek Salad. We have content that comes out every flipping week. There's always a new movie review every week. Sometimes we have guests, just like John. Thank you, John, for joining us.
Glad to be here. And
hey, you can also check out all of our movie reviews here. They're all saved in the playlist. You can also get the audio streams of our podcast, Geek Salad, here as well. Speaking of which, Mike and I do host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check us out at geeksalad.podbean.com. You can download us at iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Music. You can also follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Next up, we have an episode coming out tomorrow. We're actually not tomorrow, we're recording tomorrow, where we are going to be discussing our favorite movie soundtracks. John, thank you for suggesting Flash Gordon.
Classic.
You know what? I wasn't one bit shocked that it wasn't going to be mentioned. I knew somebody was going to mention it. I'm just happy it was you. So
it's one that I, even to this day, like, while my CD player in my car, my old car, was still working, I would just pop it in and I would just like revel in it.
Yeah. Especially because of all like the stuff that they threw in, like they actually threw in audio from the movie.
Yeah. That's what makes it, is it pieces it together where, other soundtracks are great, but it's kind of like, well, where was that in the movie? And then you just be like, there are tears falling from their eyes. It's a sign of their weakness, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a fun soundtrack, and this is going to be a very interesting conversation. So, Mike, am I forgetting anything?
Not for me.
All right, cool. So, again, John, thank you so much. John, do you want to talk about your projects? John lives out here in Massachusetts. So, Massachusetts folks, pay heed, please.
Yep. So just this summer, I'm going to be in my first Shakespeare play. They're doing Winter's Tale out on the library lawn in Concord, Mass. And that's going to be at the end of July, beginning of August. And that is FREE free. You don't have to pay for it. And you can come out on a nice summer's day and watch some Shakespeare.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. Do you have any other projects coming up sometime soon, John, or is that your primary focus right now?
But early fall, there's going to be a performance of California Suite up in Acton, Mass.
Oh, is it Theater 3?
Yeah, Theater 3.
Awesome. This is where John and I met, at Theater 3. So yeah, if you're in the New England area and you want to check out a free Shakespeare show, go check out John there. And California Suite's a great Neil Simon. It's Neil Simon, right?
Yeah, Neil Simon.
I didn't want to embarrass myself. So yeah, Neil Simon is amazing. God rest your soul. So hopefully you guys can. So anyway, for Geek Salad, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
I'm John.
Go forth and he's John.